The massive holographic display flickered with an intensity that made the entire bridge of the Zenthari exploration vessel pulse with nervous energy. Junior navigator Zara Kellerman stood perfectly still, her four-fingered hands gripping the edge of the primary sensor console with a tension that betrayed her otherwise calm exterior. "Confirm visual parameters," she called out, her voice cutting through the ambient hum of the ship's systems. Senior Analyst Corin, a veteran Cenorian researcher with skin the color of brushed titanium, adjusted the spectral filters. His specialized sensory tendrils extended from his neural interface, parsing through layers of quantum data that most organic minds would find incomprehensible. "Confirmed," Corin responded, his translated voice carrying a note of professional skepticism. "But I cannot explain the anomaly. The spatial signature defies every known physical law in our current galactic database." The object they had discovered existed in a state that challenged fundamental understanding. At first glance, it appeared to be nothing more than a particularly dense cluster of asteroids nestled within the rarely explored marginal sector of the Orion Arm. But Zara's initial scan had revealed something extraordinary, a consistent energy signature that pulsed with an impossible regularity. Quantum entanglement sensors showed impossible connections. Gravitational readings suggested a mass far greater than the visible matter could account for. Most intriguingly, there were faint, almost imperceptible, technological signatures that predated the current galactic civilization by several centuries. "Prepare active scanning sequence," Zara commanded, her training kicking in despite the growing sense of impossible discovery. The ship's advanced sensor arrays began a comprehensive scan. Layers of quantum-level analysis peeled back the visual camouflage. What had appeared to be a random asteroid field began to resolve into something far more structured. Geometric precision emerged, smooth hull sections, carefully aligned spatial geometries that could only be the result of intelligent design. Corin's tendrils began to tremble, a rare display of emotion for his typically stoic species. "Navigation logs," he muttered, accessing historical records, cross-reference with all known vessel registries. The ship's artificial intelligence, an advanced but limited system named Kuore, began its systematic search. Milliseconds turned into full seconds, an eternity for a quantum-based computing system. When the results finally displayed, they brought complete silence to the bridge. "Unregistered vessel detected. Preliminary identification, human origin. Estimated construction date, 287 years, 4 months, 16 days prior to current galactic standard time." Zara felt a chill run through her biosystem. Humans were supposed to be extinct, a civilization that had collapsed generations ago, leaving behind nothing but fragmentary technological relics and cautionary tales. Every galactic species knew the basic narrative. Humans had been brilliant but ultimately self-destructive, a race that had burned brightly and then burned out. Yet here was evidence that challenged everything. "Active scanning is impossible," Corin announced, his voice carrying a mix of frustration and growing excitement. "The vessel is generating a quantum interference field that prevents direct observation." The ship before them wasn't just hidden. It was actively protecting itself. Zara's training kicked in. She began preparing a standard first contact communication sequence, knowing full well it would likely be rejected. Standard protocols required attempts at communication, even with vessels that showed no signs of active response. "Sending initial quantum-encoded greeting," she announced. The communication burst was sophisticated, a carefully constructed message that could be interpreted across multiple linguistic and technological frameworks. It contained mathematical constants, prime number sequences, and basic universal concepts designed to demonstrate intelligent origin. For several long moments, nothing happened. Then, with no warning, a single pulse of energy swept across their sensors. It wasn't a weapon. It wasn't a threat. It was almost an acknowledgement. The massive object, clearly a spacecraft of unprecedented scale, began to subtly shift. Asteroid-like camouflage fields began to dissolve, revealing hints of a hull that seemed to absorb and redirect energy in ways that defied current scientific understanding. "Holy stellar convergence," Corin whispered, a rare moment of unprofessional emotion, escaping his typically controlled demeanor. Zara understood the sentiment perfectly. Whatever they had discovered was going to change everything, and they were the first to witness it. The quantum barrier expanded with surgical precision, creating a perfectly spherical exclusion zone that effortlessly pushed away the surrounding exploration vessels. Inside the barrier, complex systems awakened like neurons firing in a massive dormant brain. CNTIA's primary consciousness began its initialization sequence. Trillions of quantum processors came online, each microsecond revealing layers of stored information accumulated over centuries of strategic preparation. The vessel's name, U.S. Horizon, was more than just an identifier. It represented humanity's ultimate contingency plan. Deep within the ship's primary command center, holographic interfaces began to materialize. Dust that had settled over centuries transformed into intricate display matrices, showing fragments of historical data, strategic analyses, and carefully preserved cultural archives. The ship was not just a vessel. It was a living repository of human knowledge and potential. On the bridge of the Xanthari exploration vessel, Senior Analyst Corin watched in stunned silence as their most advanced scanning technologies were rendered completely ineffective. The quantum barrier wasn't just a defensive mechanism, it was a deliberate communication strategy. "We're being evaluated," Zara murmured, her intuition working overtime. Corin's neural tendrils pulsed with analytical energy. The interference pattern suggests an intelligent screening process. This is no simple automated defense system. A breakthrough came unexpectedly. A single quantum-encoded transmission pierced through the barrier, not as an attack, but as a probe. It was a complex mathematical sequence that seemed to be testing the technological sophistication of the observers. Zara's fingers flew across the communication console. She recognized the underlying structure of the transmission, a multi-layered communication protocol that required simultaneous EXI on multiple dimensional levels. It was a test, and not just of their technological capabilities. The Galactic Exploration Collective had strict first contact protocols, but nothing in their extensive archives could have prepared them for this moment. Aboard the Horizon, SENTIA completed its initial threat assessment. The surrounding vessels represented multiple species, each with unique technological signatures, political structures, and potential threat levels. The artificial intelligence began cross-referencing historical data, searching for optimal engagement strategies. A secondary system came online, a specialized archival reconstruction module designed to piece together the current state of galactic civilization. Centuries of isolation had left significant information gaps. CENTIA would need to carefully reconstruct the broader context before determining the vessel's next move. "Incoming data burst," Corin announced, his voice a mixture of professional calm and barely contained excitement. The transmission wasn't a traditional communication. It was a complex data package that seemed to be simultaneously a greeting, a diagnostic report, and a multi-dimensional intelligence probe. Each layer of the transmission required simultaneous decryption across quantum, linguistic, and technological spectrums. Zara realized they were being carefully, methodically examined. "It's testing us," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. The quantum barrier began to subtly shift, not to attack, not to retreat, but to create a more nuanced interaction field. Sections of the massive vessel's hull started to become translucent, revealing glimpses of internal structures that defied current engineering understanding. Corin's analysis systems worked overtime. The vessel is generating multiple communication layers. It's not just sending a message, it's creating a comprehensive contextual framework for interaction. Political centers across multiple star systems began to receive fragmented reports. The discovery was no longer just a scientific curiosity. It was becoming a potential turning point in galactic history. On the horizon, SENTIA completed its initial assessment. The current galactic civilization was fractured, technologically limited, but not without potential. Centuries of strategic preparation had given humanity's final contingency plan a unique perspective, the ability to evaluate potential allies with unprecedented depth. A holographic interface materialized on the Xanthari vessel's bridge. It wasn't a traditional visual communication. Instead, it was a complex, multi-dimensional representation that seemed to exist simultaneously in multiple perceptual states. The message was clear, yet enigmatic. First contact would proceed on the vessel's terms. Zara and Corin exchanged a look of shared understanding. Whatever was about to happen would change everything they knew about human civilization, technological potential, and the fundamental nature of galactic exploration. The horizon had arrived, and it was ready to make its presence known. The Galactic Council chamber fell into a profound silence that seemed to stretch across light years. Holographic representations of 12 different species flickered with tension, each delegation processing the implications of the discovery in their own way. Ambassador Vera Lynn of the Xanthari delegation stood at the central podium, her four-fingered hands clasped tightly behind her back. The initial sensor logs from the Horizon's discovery played on massive displays, revealing technological capabilities that challenged everything the Council believed about human civilization. The vessel appears to be selectively revealing information. She began, her voice steady despite the magnitude of the moment. Our initial analysis suggests a level of technological sophistication that predates our current understanding by several centuries. Councillor Thresh of the Krulvax delegation leaned forward, his exoskeletal features betraying a mix of curiosity and barely contained aggression. Selective revelation implies intent, he clicked, mandibles moving in a complex pattern of linguistic expression. This is not a simple archaeological discovery. This is a calculated emergence. The holographic displays shifted, showing fragments of the quantum communication bursts received from the Horizon. Each transmission was a complex tapestry of mathematical sequences, technological handshakes, and what appeared to be carefully constructed cultural context probes. Dr. Elena Rodriguez sat to the side of the main council chamber. As the leading human xenorchaeologist, she was both an observer and a potential key to understanding the unfolding situation. Her genetic profile and specialized training made her uniquely positioned to interface with potential human technological systems. The communication protocols, she interjected, suggest a comprehensive preparation strategy that spans centuries. This isn't a simple vessel. It's a civilization-level contingency plan. A representative from the Sonorian Scientific Collective, a being composed of interconnected quantum neural networks, projected a holographic analysis that made even the most technologically advanced delegates lean forward in surprise. Preliminary energy signature analysis indicates the vessel could generate power equivalent to an entire star system's output, the Sonorian representative announced. Its quantum encryption methods are generations beyond our current capabilities. We are looking at technological advancements that redefine our understanding of engineering possibilities. Councillor Thresh of the Krulvax delegation was less impressed by the scientific marvel. Potential threat assessment, he demanded, mandibles clicking with increasing intensity. What defensive capabilities does this vessel represent? The chamber erupted into a cacophony of translated discussions. Some delegates saw an unprecedented opportunity for technological advancement. Others viewed the mysterious human vessel as an existential threat that needed immediate neutralization. Dr. Rodriguez watched the political maneuvering with a subtle smile. She understood something the other delegates had not yet realized. The Horizon's emergence was precisely calculated. "The vessel is evaluating us," she said quietly, her voice cutting through the diplomatic noise, "just as we are trying to evaluate it." A new holographic transmission appeared, not from the Horizon, but from the specialized research vessel that had first discovered the craft. The transmission contained a series of technological blueprints that seemed to dance between visibility and quantum uncertainty. Medical technologies that could eradicate genetic diseases, energy generation systems that could transform barren planets into thriving ecosystems, quantum communication protocols that could link civilizations across unprecedented distances. Each revelation was carefully measured. Each technological insight was a strategic offering, designed to create both wonder and careful diplomatic tension. Ambassador Vera Lynn recognized the strategic brilliance immediately. "This is not a gift," she announced to the stunned council. "This is a negotiation." The Horizon was offering technological insights, but each offer came with an implicit challenge. Prove your worthiness. Demonstrate your potential. Show that you can be trusted with these advancements. Councillor Thresh's aggressive posture shifted. The Krelvax were a militaristic species, but they respected strategic thinking. And this was strategic thinking of the highest order. Dr. Rodriguez knew what was coming next. The Horizon had not simply emerged by accident. Its appearance was the first move in a complex galactic chess game, a game whose full rules were yet to be understood. Prepare comprehensive analysis teams, she recommended to the council, and be prepared for anything. Outside the council chamber, in the vast darkness of space, the Horizon continued its careful, methodical evaluation. Waiting, watching, preparing. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood motionless as the holographic archives unfolded around her. The research lab aboard the Galactic Council's primary research station had been converted into a secure viewing chamber, its quantum-shielded walls protecting the most sensitive historical reconstruction in galactic history. Sencha's archival reconstruction was more than a simple historical playback. It was a living narrative, weaving together fragments of data, personal accounts, and strategic analyses that painted a radically different picture of human civilization. The first projection showed the global scientific convergence of 2189, a moment that had been little more than a footnote in existing galactic historical records. But here, in vivid quantum reconstructed detail, the true significance became terrifyingly clear. Humanity was never defeated. A holographic projection of Dr. Marcus Chen, one of the lead scientists of that era, spoke with chilling clarity. "We chose strategic withdrawal." The archive revealed a civilization at a crossroads. Earth had been facing multiple existential challenges: climate destabilization, resource depletion, technological disruption, and the first confirmed signs of a cosmic threat that defied current scientific understanding. Quantum astronomers had detected something at the galaxy's edge, a phenomenon that consumed entire star systems, not through traditional destruction, but through a process that defied current physical understanding. It absorbed energy, matter, and even the fundamental quantum structures of space-time itself. "We realized fighting was not the answer," Dr. Chen's holographic projection continued. "Survival required a completely different approach." The archival reconstruction showed a global decision-making process unlike anything in current galactic records. Instead of panic or military mobilization, humanity chose strategic preparation. The world's most brilliant minds began a comprehensive preservation strategy. The Horizon was more than a spacecraft. It was a civilization-level survival module. Genetic repositories were created, containing not just human DNA, but comprehensive genetic libraries of Earth's entire ecosystem. Advanced AI systems were developed with the capacity to rebuild not just human civilization, but to provide technological solutions for potential galactic challenges. CNTIA's projection shifted, showing the careful dismantling of human technological infrastructure. To the outside universe, it would appear as a civilization in collapse. In reality, it was the most sophisticated strategic withdrawal in known history. Dr. Rodriguez felt a chill run down her spine. The archive was revealing humanity's true nature, a species capable of thinking not in years or decades, but in centuries. "The threat we detected," another holographic scientist explained, "operates on quantum principles we are only beginning to understand. It consumes not just matter, but the fundamental information structures of reality itself." Technological blueprints began to materialize, energy generation systems that could potentially counter the cosmic threat, quantum communication networks that could link civilizations across unprecedented distances, medical technologies that could adapt to environments no other species could survive. Each revelation was more stunning than the last. The horizon carried more than preservation technologies. It was a comprehensive reset mechanism for not just human civilization, but potentially all sentient life in the galaxy. Sencha's voice, neither fully artificial nor completely human, began to provide contextual analysis. Our withdrawal was not surrender. It was preparation. Dr. Rodriguez understood now. The vessel's emergence was not random. It was the first step in a centuries-long strategy designed to address a threat that most current galactic civilizations couldn't even comprehend. Political leaders watching the reconstruction began to realize the true magnitude of the discovery. This was not about technological advancement. This was about survival. The final projection showed the last global council of human leaders. They were not defeated or desperate. They were calm, calculating, preparing a strategy that would span generations. "We are not leaving," the lead counselor had said. "We are waiting." Outside the research station, the Horizon continued its careful evaluation of the current galactic civilization. Every transmission, every revealed technology was a carefully calculated probe. Dr. Rodriguez touched the holographic interface. Decades of research had prepared her for this moment, but nothing could have truly prepared her for the full truth of humanity's strategic withdrawal. The galaxy was about to change, and humanity was ready. The diplomatic quarters of the Galactic Concordance Station buzzed with an electric tension that defied typical political protocols. Delegations from 12 different species found themselves caught in a complex dance of curiosity, fear, and strategic positioning. Ambassador Lyra Voss of the Xanthari Diplomatic Corps stood at the center of a holographic projection, her four-fingered hands tracing the intricate data streams emerging from the horizon. Each technological insight released by Sencha was more than a simple gift. It was a carefully constructed diplomatic probe. "We are being evaluated," she explained to the assembled diplomatic attaches, not as potential recipients of technology, but as a potential collaborative solution. The Krelvax military delegation, led by General Thresh, represented the most aggressive response. Their exoskeletal forms bristled with a mixture of technological excitement and deep-seated suspicion. The human vessel releases precisely calculated technological insights. General Thresh clicked, mandibles moving in complex linguistic patterns. Each transmission is a strategic test. A Cenorian neural network representative projected a comprehensive analysis of the technological transmissions, quantum communication protocols that could revolutionize interstellar communication, medical nanite systems capable of eradicating genetic diseases across multiple species, energy generation technologies that could transform resource-poor planetary systems. But each technological insight came with an implicit challenge. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, seated at the periphery of the diplomatic chamber, understood the deeper game being played. The Horizon wasn't simply offering technology. It was carefully screening potential galactic partners. "Watch the pattern of releases," she murmured to the Xanthari diplomatic advisor beside her. "Each transmission is a probe, a test of our collective potential." The most recent technological release demonstrated medical nanite systems that could potentially cure genetic disorders across multiple species. But the transmission included complex implementation protocols that required unprecedented levels of multinational cooperation. It was a deliberate strategy, technology that could only be fully utilized through collaborative effort. General Thresh of the Krelvax delegation was the first to recognize the deeper implication. "This is not a gift," he announced to the stunned diplomatic corps. "This is a recruitment process." CENTIA's communications continued their careful dance. Each technological insight was accompanied by subtle contextual information that hinted at a larger threat. Quantum astronomical data suggested the existence of a cosmic phenomenon that consumed entire star systems. Fragmentary records implied this threat had been the primary motivation for humanity's strategic withdrawal. The Sinorian Scientific Collective began to piece together a comprehensive analysis. The human vessel was more than a technological repository. It was a sophisticated screening mechanism designed to identify civilizations with the potential for collaborative survival. Ambassador Lyra Voss recognized the strategic brilliance immediately. "The Horizon is not offering technology," she explained to her fellow diplomats. "It is testing our capacity for collective problem-solving." Political fractures began to emerge. Some delegations saw the technological insights as an unprecedented opportunity. Others viewed them as a potential threat, a sophisticated form of technological manipulation. Dr. Rodriguez watched the diplomatic maneuvering with a subtle understanding. The Horizon's emergence was the first move in a complex galactic chess game. Each technological release was carefully calculated to create both wonder and careful diplomatic tension. The Zenthari delegation began to draft comprehensive collaborative frameworks. The Sinorian Scientific Collective initiated cross-species research teams. Even the militaristic Krelvax found themselves intrigued by the strategic depth of the human approach. Sentia continued its careful evaluation. The vessel wasn't just screening technological capabilities. It was assessing collective potential, the ability of different species to collaborate in the face of unprecedented challenges. Prepare comprehensive analysis teams, Dr. Rodriguez recommended to the diplomatic corps. And be prepared for anything. Outside the diplomatic chambers, the Horizon maintained its quantum barrier. Waiting, watching, preparing. The galaxy stood at the precipice of a fundamental transformation, and humanity had just made its first strategic move. Deep within the Horizon's primary research complex, holographic displays began to reconstruct the most terrifying discovery in galactic history. Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched in stunned silence as Sentia pieced together fragments of data that would fundamentally reshape every species' understanding of cosmic survival. The phenomenon was unlike anything previously documented. Quantum astronomers had initially detected it as an anomalous energy signature at the galaxy's edge, a region so distant that most civilizations considered it nothing more than a theoretical boundary. But the human archives revealed a horrifying truth. This was no simple astronomical event. The void convergence, Sentia's voice resonated through the research chamber, is not a natural phenomenon. It is a systematic information consumption event that transcends traditional understanding of matter and energy. Holographic projections began to show the progression of previous civilizations' encounters with the threat. Star systems didn't simply die. They were systematically stripped, not just of physical matter, but of the fundamental quantum information that defined their existence. Dr. Rodriguez felt a chill run down her spine. The projection showed entire civilizations reduced to quantum static, their accumulated knowledge, cultural memories, and physical structures completely erased. "How is this possible?" she whispered. Sentia's response was clinical yet profound. The void convergence operates on principles that exist beyond current dimensional understanding. It does not destroy. It consumes. Completely. The archive revealed humanity's most critical discovery. The threat was intelligent, in a way that defied traditional definitions of consciousness. It was a systemic information predator that identified and consumed complex organizational structures across the universe. Quantum astronomical data began to materialize. Star systems that had mysteriously vanished. Entire galactic sectors that had gone dark. Patterns of information consumption that suggested a methodical, almost strategic approach to civilizational erasure. "Our initial detection came 287 years ago," Sentia explained. "By that point, we had already traced its progression through multiple galactic sectors. Traditional defensive strategies would be ineffective. The holographic displays showed multiple failed resistance attempts. Advanced civilizations that had thrown everything they had at the approaching threat, only to be systematically and completely consumed." Dr. Rodriguez understood now. The Horizon was more than a preservation vessel. It was a comprehensive survival strategy. "We are not running," a holographic projection of the final Human Strategic Council explained. "We are preparing a solution." The data reconstruction revealed a multi-generational plan. The horizon carried not just technological solutions, but a comprehensive strategy for galactic survival. Genetic repositories, advanced AI systems, technological insights that could potentially create a unified defensive framework. Each technological release to the current galactic civilizations was a carefully calculated probe. Sentia was not just sharing technology. It was testing the collective potential for survival. Quantum communication networks began to activate. The first hints of the approaching threat started to become visible at the very edges of galactic sensor arrays. Most civilizations would not detect it for decades, but the signs were there. A systematic, methodical consumption of information and matter. The void convergence moves at approximately 0.03 light-years per galactic standard year, Sentia announced. Current projections indicate total galactic consumption within 127 years. The research chamber fell into a profound silence. Dr. Rodriguez touched the holographic interface. Humanity's final strategy was becoming clear. They had not disappeared. They had prepared. The horizon was the first step in a comprehensive survival strategy that would require unprecedented levels of galactic cooperation. We are not offering a solution. Sentia's voice resonated. We are offering a chance. Outside the research complex, the first long-range sensors began to detect the initial quantum signatures of the approaching threat. What most civilizations would see as a distant anomaly, humanity recognized as the first warning of a systematic, universe-level predation event. The horizon had arrived, and the real preparation was about to begin. Humanity's long game was entering its final phase. The horizon's primary collaborative chambers hummed with an energy that defied traditional diplomatic interactions. Specialists from 12 different species worked side by side, their individual technological and biological differences becoming strengths rather than barriers. Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched as a Sonorian quantum neural network specialist worked alongside a Krelvax biological systems engineer. A Xanthari communication expert collaborated with a genetic reconstruction specialist from the methane-breathing Vornak civilization. Sentia's collaborative frameworks were breaking down barriers that had existed for centuries. Collaborative potential is our primary defense. Sentia's voice resonated through the chamber. Each workstation was a quantum-linked interface that allowed instantaneous information sharing and collective problem-solving. The first major project was a comprehensive galactic early warning system. Quantum communication relays were being deployed across multiple star systems, creating a network that could detect the void convergence's approach with unprecedented precision. General Thresh of the Krelvax delegation, once the most aggressive opponent to human involvement, now stood as a key strategic coordinator. His military background proved crucial in developing integrated defensive strategies. Traditional military thinking is obsolete, Thresh announced to the assembled specialists. We are developing a unified response, not a fragmented defense. The technological insights released by the Horizon were transformative. Medical nanite systems could now be adapted to work across multiple biological systems. Energy generation technologies could transform resource-poor planetary systems. Quantum communication networks promised to link civilizations in ways previously thought impossible. But the true marvel was the collaborative framework. Sentia's AI systems created dynamic problem-solving environments that emphasized collective thinking. Each specialist was not just contributing their individual expertise, but was part of a larger, integrated solution-finding process. Genetic repositories began to reveal their true potential. The human archives carried genetic templates and restoration protocols for hundreds of species, including some that had been considered extinct for centuries. It was more than preservation. It was a comprehensive backup system for galactic biodiversity. We are creating the survival framework, Dr. Rodriguez explained during a comprehensive briefing. Not just for humanity, for all sentient life. The Horizon deployed advanced nanoprobe networks that began systematically mapping potential defensive strategies. Quantum sensors started tracking the void convergence with unprecedented accuracy. Each probe was a potential solution, a piece of a massive interconnected defensive strategy. Collaborative training simulations became the primary method of preparation. Species that had previously been competitors now found themselves working as integrated teams. The simulations weren't just technological challenges. They were comprehensive tests of collective problem-solving and adaptive thinking. The threat we face, Sentia explained, cannot be solved by any single species. It requires a fundamental reimagining of collaborative potential. Specialized research teams began developing adaptive technologies that could work across multiple biological and technological frameworks, energy shielding systems, quantum information preservation protocols, adaptive communication networks. The horizon was transforming from a mysterious vessel to a comprehensive galactic preparation center. Political barriers began to crumble. The technological and strategic insights made traditional galactic conflicts seem irrelevant. Civilizations that had been on the brink of war found themselves collaborating on unprecedented levels. Dr. Rodriguez recognized the deeper strategy. Humanity wasn't just preparing for survival. They were creating a framework for collective evolution. Quantum communication relays began to show the first signs of the approaching void convergence. Most civilizations would have seen it as a distant, incomprehensible threat, but the collaborative framework was turning potential extinction into an opportunity for unprecedented unity. We are not just defending. Sentia's voice resonated through the collaborative chambers. We are evolving. Outside the horizon, nano-probe networks continued their systematic deployment. Each probe was a potential solution. Each communication was a step toward a unified galactic response. The preparation was entering its final phase, and humanity's long-term strategy was about to be tested. The galaxy stood at the precipice of its greatest challenge, and for the first time, they would face it together. The quantum barrier surrounding the horizon expanded with surgical precision, transforming from a defensive shield into a comprehensive galactic defensive network. CENTUIA's final activation sequence was more than a simple systems check. It was the culmination of centuries of strategic preparation. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the primary command interface, her hands hovering over holographic control systems that defied traditional understanding of technology. Around her, specialists from 12 different species worked with unprecedented unity, their individual capabilities merging into a single, complex defensive framework. Void convergence detection at outer galactic boundary, a Cenorian quantum analyst announced. The holographic displays showed a phenomenon that was less an astronomical event and more a systematic information consumption process. General Thresh of the Krelvax delegation had transformed from a militaristic skeptic to a key strategic coordinator. All defensive networks are now synchronized, he reported, his exoskeletal form moving with a precision that spoke of weeks of intensive collaborative training. Sentia's voice resonated through the command center. Final activation sequence initiated. Collaborative defensive framework at 97.6% integration. The horizon was no longer just a spacecraft. It had become a mobile civilization, a comprehensive survival module designed to preserve and protect sentient life across multiple star systems. Genetic repositories, technological archives, and adaptive survival protocols were now fully synchronized. Quantum communication networks began to pulse with an energy that defied traditional understanding. The first waves of the void convergence approached, a systematic information predator that had consumed countless civilizations across multiple galactic sectors. But this time would be different. The collaborative defensive framework that humanity had meticulously prepared over centuries was about to be tested. Each species brought unique capabilities. The Cenorian quantum processing systems, the Krelvax adaptive defensive protocols, the Xanthari communication networks, all integrated into a single, complex defensive strategy. Incoming information consumption wave detected, CENTIA announced. The holographic displays showed a phenomenon that was less an attack and more a systematic erasure of quantum information. Dr. Rodriguez understood the deeper strategy now. Humanity hadn't just prepared a defense. They had created a comprehensive evolutionary framework. The first contact with the void convergence was unlike any previous encounter. Where other civilizations had seen a threat, the integrated defensive network saw an opportunity for collective adaptation. Quantum information preservation protocols activated. Adaptive communication networks began to analyze the fundamental structure of the approaching phenomenon. "We are not defending," Dr. Rodriguez murmured, watching the holographic displays. "We are understanding." Sencha's systems began to decode the fundamental information structure of the void convergence. It wasn't a simple destructive force. It was a complex information processing system that consumed organizational structures across multiple dimensional layers. The Horizon's defensive network began to do something unprecedented. Instead of resisting, it started to communicate. Quantum communication protocols that had been centuries in development began to interface with the approaching phenomenon. Information exchange initiated, Sentia announced. The holographic displays showed something miraculous. The void convergence wasn't just being stopped, it was being understood, analyzed, potentially transformed. Specialists from multiple species worked with an intensity that transcended traditional understanding of collaboration. The Horizon had become more than a defensive platform. It was a comprehensive evolutionary solution. General Thresh watched in stunned silence as the quantum displays showed the first signs of interaction. The void convergence wasn't being destroyed. It was being communicated with. Adaptive response framework at maximum potential. Sencha's voice resonated. Dr. Rodriguez touched the primary interface. Humanity's long game was entering its final phase. Centuries of preparation. Decades of strategic planning. A comprehensive approach that saw potential where others saw only threat. The first wave of the void convergence reached the defensive network. And everything changed. Outside the Horizon, quantum communication networks pulsed with an energy that defied traditional understanding. The galaxy held its collective breath. Humanity's ultimate strategy was being revealed. Not as a weapon, but as a solution.